Okay, we're opening up this hearing and then have you turned over to Linus for opening filling.
Okay, this is a local agency hearing relating to, it relates to an appeal from Mardell Hunter from a driveway permit issued to Stepp for property on Circle Road.
Yeah, it's an
And I might add that the other Supervisor Smith is recusing himself and is not participating as a member of the Board of Supervisors in this hearing. I think he's been involved with construction on this driveway, and he has elected and will not participate as a member of the board in this matter. This public hearing was advertised in the Duncannon Record, and we're here based on we're here with there's a court reporter present. She will be taking all the testimony. Any testimony will be given under oath. I take it, Mr. Kendall, would you state your name and who you're representing?
Yeah, Keith Kendall, I represent Mark Hunter and Mardell Hunter.
And is Mr. Stepp present?
Luke Stepp.
Luke Stepp?
My dad's here also. He's Mr. Stepp too. So.
Okay, if you wanted to come closer, that's up to you.
I'm fine here.
Okay, so you're here, Mr. Stepp. Also here and probably participating to some degree is Robert Hart.
I'm here.
You're here as I believe you issued the driveway permits.
I issued the permits at the director of the township engineer.
And the township engineer, Jerry Spees, is here.
Yes.
And will also be involved. So those are, I also believe there are members of the public here. You have a right to be here. But we are going to first, I think we should put in some documents that set forth the basis for this hearing. This was precipitated by a letter under date of January 29th, 2015. This was a letter from Attorney Keith Kendall to the Watts Township Board of Supervisors, essentially contesting the driveway permit issued to Luke Stepp for property on Circle Road. And this was again representing Mark and Mardell Hunter. It was a letter with an attachment, and I want to make that part of the record, Mr. Kendall. Do you have a copy of that, Mr. Stepp?
I do not.
So just make this a board exhibit 1, which is the letter and the drawing. Also, the driveway permit, and I believe it was issued, the record we have shows it was issued on December 4th, 2014. I think there were a couple other permits issued on this same property. Mr. Hart can correct me, but I think the first one was issued April 10th, 2014, and then a subsequent issuance of a permit of May 29th, 2014, and the final driveway permit under which we are proceeding today was issued on December 4th, 2014. Is that correct, Mr. Hart?
That's correct.
Fortunately, I only have one copy of the application. Have you seen this, Mr. Kendall?
I was going to use that as an exhibit in my case.
So this is the application of Luke Stepp for the proposed driveway at 14 Circle Road, Duncannon, PA, and it was issued on December 4th, 2014. And we're going to make this Board Exhibit 2. The other document I want to make as an exhibit is the actual driveway ordinance. That will be Board Exhibit 3. Here's a copy of the driveway ordinance.
I'm sure I do it in the zoning.
Mr. Stepp, do you have a copy of that?
I'm sure I've seen it before.
I don't have the proof of publication. Have you gotten that back yet? But the proof of publication will also be part of the record of this proceeding. Maybe, well, I'm going to turn it over to you, Mr. Kendall. If you want to, like I said, the engineer's here. Mr. Hart's here. If you want to give us the nature of your reasoning and why you are here contesting this driveway permit, go ahead.
Yeah, there are a couple of issues. First of all, the application itself, I think, is very deficient in its particulars, in any detail that's required by state regulations. Even when a township issues permits, they have to follow state regulations. There's a 191-page guideline for state regulations. I don't think that this permit is even close to complying with all of the necessary regulations in terms of location, in terms of studies, in terms of details, in terms of safety concerns. The other issue is this driveway crosses my client's property where there is an access that does not necessarily have to cross for a driveway, that doesn't have to cross their property. But yet their property was crossed. As a matter of fact, they weren't even asked whether or not, they weren't even asked for permission as to whether or not they could use this particular point of access to the public highway. There is an alternative access that is completely in Mr. Stepp's property that, as far as I know, could have been used, might have cost a little more because it's a little bit longer, but it provides complete access to Circle Road within Mr. Stepp's property. And we think that is the location that could and should have been permitted. So based on those two concerns, the concern with the application, which is I think deficient, and in terms of violating my client's constitutional rights to the use of his own property, are the two major concerns that we have.
Well, let me ask you this. You stated there are regulations, and are you talking about regulations for state roads?
Point of access
Onto a
regulations
state road.
that apply to all roads, public roads.
You're saying that would apply to an access onto a township
Yes,
road?
I am.
And what did you just reference there?
It's called the Highway Occupancy Permit Guidelines.
Who publishes these?
This is published by PennDOT.
And those are guidelines that an individual would follow if they applied for an HOP onto a state road,
Yes.
am I correct?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, let me read the particular regulation that applies. The Secretary, this is actually the statute, rules for use of and injury to highways and penalties. This is 36 PS 670-420. This is
36 PS 6,
670-420. This is subsection B1. The secretary, and that's in the definitions, the Secretary of the Department of Highways, may delegate permit issuing authority to any municipality which agrees to issue permits in compliance with department regulations or municipal ordinances approved by the secretary, which shall contain standards which are in every particular at least as high as those contained in department regulations.
let me ask you this, and I'm not being combative here, but wouldn't this apply only to state roads?
No, not in my opinion.
But that's your opinion.
That's my position.
Okay, so that's a legal issue you're advancing here.
Correct.
And the second one relates to the crossing of your client's property from Mr. Stepp's property onto the township right-of-way. Am I
Correct.
correct?
We think there is a major safety concern if an accident occurs at that point of access. For instance, from ice flowing off the driveway across our client's property, my client's property, onto the highway, and that ice causes an accident at that intersection. My clients could be held liable. It's their property, and I'm sure they would be named in a lawsuit. That's a violation of their constitutional rights to be free from what I believe is an illegal seizure of their property by the issuance of this permit.
Okay, let me ask you this question, so you can try to clear this up. Would you agree that what you're considering your client's property is all within the township right-of-way?
No, we don't know that, and that's something we need to establish today. I mean, that's what this hearing is about.
Okay, so perhaps at this point in time, why don't you offer your factual evidence?
Sure. Where do you want the witnesses to? How about right to your right?
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, Mark Hunter.
Did you swear in, Mr. Hunter?
If you'll raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please keep your voice up. You're kind of far from me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mark, you want to sit right over here? Please state your full name for the record.
Mark Charles Hunter,
Where do you reside?
45 Black Snake Road, Cannon, PA.
And what is your relationship to this property on Circle Road?
Part owner of it, and this is where I moved up.
Who owns the property?
Mom, Mordell Hunter, and Charles Hunter.
Are you employed?
I'm farming.
You farm this particular piece of property? As I understand it, the boundaries of your property on the north either follow or intersect Circle Road.
Yep.
In certain points, it's kind of different whether or not it even goes down the middle of Circle Road, correct?
The spot, a good area, be in the middle.
Okay, let me ask you something. You're pointing to a drawing. I think this drawing was also part of your letter, Mr. Kendall.
Yes. We'll have this appellant's exhibit number 1.
Okay, so this will be marked as Hunter Exhibit 1.
I have reduced copies for the board.
I'm
you have a copy of this drawing?
Is it of the Hunter property?
This.
Yes.
You have this?
Yes. Okay.
So this property on Circle Road's been surveyed?
Yes,
Who surveyed it?
Charles Cook
And do you know when?
is June 19th of 1989.
Okay. Who is your neighbor to the north?
Luke Stepp's here, and then there's Ken Wilson there.
I'm sorry, and then
Maybe
there's,
speak up a little bit, it's a little hard to hear.
Luke Stepp owns this here.
Okay, you can't point, you're gonna have to just indicate, look, Mr. Stepp owns property to the north
Yep.
of your property, and there's an adjoining property owner, and who's that?
That's Ken Lewis.
Ken Lewis, Lewis.
Do you know how long Mr. Stepp has lived on his property?
He doesn't live there as far as I know. It's not complete yet.
Do you know the character of that property? Is it farm property? Is it residential?
It was farmed upon time, but,
Are there any structures or buildings on the property?
Lewis Clark lived on, not Steps.
Okay. Is there a large, like for instance, garage on the property? Do you know?
Nothing.
Okay. Has Mr. Stepp ever approached you about putting a driveway in to access Circle Road?
No, never.
Do you know if there were ever any plans for that, for a driveway to access Circle Road?
I'd seen the permits afterwards.
Okay. Did anybody ask you ahead of time about any of that accessing? Okay. Are you aware of a first position or location that there was going to be, supposed to be a driveway?
Yeah, it was the first one. That was gonna be right here.
Oh, you have to indicate where. You can't just point because the court reporter can't understand that.
Right out there.
So you're
Okay.
pointing to a spot that's on this drawing that's up on the north?
Sort of gonna be in front of where his house was done.
Is his house marked on that map?
No, this was done in 1989, so his
But
house
is
was
it-
there. But we made this here so you can see where his house was.
Would you
Okay,
mind
let me ask you, are there drawings on that map, hand drawings? Handwritten drawings on the map?
Yes,
Who put those on there?
I put them on there to show you exactly where it was.
Okay, is there an access driveway location directly south of the Stepp house?
There's one over here that was the access road into that property. Where they own the property, the road. This here is the road.
And you're pointing to the property, and there's an S-curve on the map, correct?
Yep,
Where was the very first location proposed for the driveway?
the very first one was out on the straight stretch, like the first straight stretch before you get into any of the corners.
Due south of the property, or of the house?
It was right sort of out.
Directly below the house.
Yeah, where they're putting the house.
Can you put, can he mark that? Can you put a mark on there?
Yeah, we have, I have.
I'd say this here is gonna be a telephone pole that would have been right here.
Where's the first driveway that?
First driveway proposed.
This is the first one.
Can you mark that in what color?
Orange.
Was a second location proposed at some point?
Had it for a second one. And that way back to the left turn. Up, there's a little bit of a hill there, towards the top of the hill. Mark that in orange.
Can you Mark, can you put a 1 on there for the first one? Can you do that, can you just put that in the next, please? 1. And 2 for the second one.
Do either of those access points cross your property?
Yeah, right,
Did you object to the placement of the driveways to those points?
yep. Yeah, because the first one, actually, DP&L, I even put a pole in for them before I knew what was going on.
You said before you knew what was going on?
Yep.
Okay.
I don't want to interfere with you, but can you say who he objected to? You said.
Yeah, who did you object to?
Luke Stepp,
Okay.
them and his dad.
And what was their response to your objection?
It seemed like he didn't know where the property was.
Oh, you mean your property?
Yeah, where the line was.
Okay. Did they move the location because of your objection?
Yeah,
Okay. Now, was there, the second location, did you object to that?
they never asked. So,
Okay. How about, was there a third location proposed?
yep, they went with the third one in. Whenever they got it, I actually got the line surveyed, resurveyed, so they would know where the line was, there'd be no question. And then whenever it was resurveyed, they must have seen where I still owned the property, so then they went with the third one. Mike over here.
You still have the pen? Go ahead and put a 3 on there. Did that third proposed driveway cross your property?
Yeah. Property's right there on the edge of the road.
And
See, the property runs pretty much the whole side of it, just right along the side.
I'm sorry, runs,
You have to keep up.
I said the whole property runs like right along the edge of the road, amongst there.
did you object to the construction of the driveway there?
Yeah.
And what was the response? Who did you object to?
First one I talked to was Carl, that's gonna
Okay. And what was his response to your objection?
have to get a lawyer.
Okay.
And then I tried talking with Pat, and she looked at it.
And what was her objection? Or what was
She
her
gonna
response?
look- She was gonna look into it. They claim their lawyer says it's legal, but she never got me any paperwork saying what was legal about it.
Okay, and the permit to your knowledge was granted?
Yep, yeah, because Luke Stepp said then that that's where they told him to put the driveway.
Did you get a copy of the permit from the township?
I got copies of all three of them, I see them. And at one point in time, Luke Stepp even told me there was no permit issued for the second one.
I can't hear what you
I
said.
said at one time, Luke Stepp told me when I walked in one time that there was no permit issued for the second one. He said, Smith always cut that in there on film. But then I seen that there was definitely a permit for it, so.
Can you hear?
it's difficult.
Keep your voice up.
Okay.
We could maybe move him closer
Yeah,
to
that
her.
would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep your witness over there,
We're done with the map, or?
though. Yeah.
show you what we have had marked Hunter's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that document?
Yeah, it's the final permit,
Is that the application for the permit?
yeah.
And on the last page is the permit itself?
Yep,
You've taken photos of the driveway, correct? For the lay of the land, so to speak?
and
I'm going to show you a set of photos. And ask you to identify those for the record and describe what they show. Could you describe for the record what those photos show?
that was just a photo after I put the trespass notices up,
Let's stick to which one are you looking at?
looking at the 1A,
What's the number?
3A.
or 3A.
So you're talking about 3A.
Yep,
Okay, go ahead.
that was after I put the trespass notice up. If you, there's a steel stake and a pink flag, that's going to be the line. You can see the driveway, that was the second driveway to the right.
When was that sign put up?
That would have been December 16th when I put them up.
Okay, the signs you're stating are the no trespassing signs?
No trespass notices.
So you're saying those signs are on your property?
Yep,
Where's the driveway at on this 3A?
the second driveway that they more or less allowed him to put in was to the far right of the picture.
But that's not the one that,
That's not the final one.
the final driveway.
That's not the final one.
Go ahead and describe 3B.
That was the actual second driveway there.
This is the second driveway again that was not used?
Yeah, that's the one that they didn't use. They cut in.
To your knowledge, was a permit issued for that driveway?
Yeah, I've seen the permit. Issued 3 different ones.
How about the third, 3B? Excuse me, 3C.
3C, that's still the second driveway. And they're put some ground back in because found out that they couldn't put the driveway there.
Who's they found out?
I guess steps.
And how did they find out? Do you know?
Well, that's like I said, after I just had the survey done, they would have seen where the line was, for sure.
And describe 3D for the commission.
That's the actual driveway, the third driveway, that's the one they're using the permit for, the final one.
And that driveway crosses your property still?
Yep, at the edge of the road.
3D, please.
3D is the actual driveway.
I'm sorry, 3E, if you would describe that, please.
Well, the trespass notice disappeared, and they got their driveway in.
Who took the trespass notice out?
I don't know, it just disappeared and the driveway got put in.
You didn't take it? You
I did not take it out.
Describe 3F, please.
3F is just the property line, more or less.
Talk towards her. Okay.
3F is just the property line with the trespass notices, noticing that the trespass notice were up in case they disappeared. I wanted pictures, proof that they were there.
What location is that? Second
That's
one.
between the two driveways, where the second one would have been and the third one.
Describe 3G, please.
That's just another picture of the second one, then put the ground back in. You can see where the survey marker is, and I put a stake at the marker.
Could you just go through the rest of those and identify them by number and letter, and let the commissioners know what they are?
3H is just showing the property line. That's from the corner down below, like the second driveway, where the second one would have been. They cut in. 3I is just the actual driveway that they cut in and they're using now for the property. 3J was just another picture, like I said, that's where the driveway they put in after the trespass and they just disappeared. And this is 3K is just more or less showing the line. And that line will run to an oak tree. There's a picture on the back other that will show the picture of the oak tree. It's the actual boundary. 3L is just a picture of the house. 3M is the actual oak tree, it's the corner on the survey map.
And that
That
oak tree is,
gonna be right here at this corner, right here.
Mark, show some here.
Huh?
Show some. That's the one you just.
This is the oak tree right here.
So the oak tree on 3M is on the left side of the photograph.
Well, it's the bigger of the two.
Right there.
It's the larger of the two
Yeah,
trees.
this one here. It's not the one there, but that's
The second one to the left.
And that picture sort of shows like if they used their driveway, how they're up at the corner when that picture got taken. And that 3N was their original driveway into that property. That's 3N. And 3O is just the visibility that you can see from that driveway the other way. There's a whole lot more visibility where the driveway is right now.
as far as 3N goes, when you reference that as the first driveway to their property,
That was the.
where on the big map is that? Or was that?
It's gonna be like right in here.
You're saying that's the original driveway into the
That
property?
was the original one.
Can you do that, Pen? Can you?
Yeah, go ahead and mark that. And put O next to it for original. And the driveway you just marked, that's completely within the Stepp property, correct?
Yep. Yeah, because their property actually gets clear across the road
So
there.
can you repeat that?
I said, yeah, that's, they own the property and their property goes clear across the road there. So they own the whole road frontage. I'd never be liable in a lawsuit with the driveway there.
Is that your main concern? What, do you still object to where the driveway is now in the third location?
And,
Why?
well, it's across my property. If I ever want to do anything with the property, get rid of the property, it's like, I haven't bought it 8 years.
Okay, any other reason?
Well, it's just mainly the law. Well, like I said, I could lose the farm over.
Potential liability?
You know, that's the big reason right there.
That's all I have for Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Hunter, that one photograph shows that there is a driveway presently being placed in there under this third permit, is that correct? I mean, where the driveway is right now, it's being built.
Yep, they put the driveway in as the third one. That's,
What photograph is that, the actual driveway that's being built right now? Is it 3D?
3D's got a picture of it. 3E has got a picture of it.
So 3E is the actual driveway that's being
Yep,
placed on the step driveway at this point in time.
yep.
Now, those photographs, let me ask you, did you take those photographs?
Most of them,
And there's a date on those photographs.
yep,
Is that when they were taken?
yep. Right off the cell phone.
Just so we get the whole record made. The driveway permit for this, what I'm gonna indicate, this third driveway permit, which is where the driveway is being constructed by Steps at this point in time. When did you get a copy of that permit, if you know?
A few weeks ago, when I actually seen you had copies of them.
2 weeks ago.
It was a few weeks, I'm not just, like, something like that.
So the permit shows that it was issued on December 4th.
Yep.
You're saying you didn't get a copy of that permit when it was
I
issued?
had no
December?
idea what they were up to, what they were doing.
So, do you know when the construction started?
My guess is it was right before the 16th, they probably cut that in. Which day, I don't know, because unless I go up there and see what's going on, I can't tell you exactly. But it's probably the 15th, I think I probably seen it, and maybe the next day I'd have to get some pictures of it.
Mr. Kendall, do you have a deed for this property owned by Mr.
I don't have a copy of it here.
Hunter? Okay. And the road that is on these photographs, that is Circle Road, is that correct?
Circle Road, yep.
Do the Board of Supervisors have any questions of Mr. Hunter?
You know, like I said, I was just hoping something could be worked out between you two, Mr. Stepp.
Like I said, if you allow me to put the driveway in, that's what he told me, so that's what he went with.
I have one other question. You're indicating that do you know, strike that. It looks like where you've marked this third driveway, third, with an orange marker,
Yep.
and your property boundaries, I guess, are located on this drawing.
This whole dark, everything, the dark blue, gonna be the,
Your property boundary line. That property, by the way, is owned by you and your mother, is that correct? It almost appears that your property line, at least some of it, actually borders right along Circle Road.
yep, right in there, you can see it's pretty much right at the border.
Is that where this third driveway has been constructed?
Yeah, but there, actually, it's up a little bit, I mean, there's probably at least, I have to go up and look again, about 3 feet on one side of it.
So you're saying that there's at least 3 feet of what you say is your property between Circle Road and the driveway?
Actually, I own all the property under the road, clear over to the blue line.
Okay, good.
That's all I have for Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Stepp, did you want to ask Mr. Hunter any questions?
No questions, no.
I don't know, Jerry, Mr. Speed, do you have any questions that you might want to ask Mr. Hunter as the township engineer?
The only question I would ask is, the part where the driveway 3 comes out across, is it all in the right of way? Your property is located all in the right of way at that location?
As far as I know, it would be. You can call it density, I think, measure it off, try to make sure it was, but
Mr. Hart, I also, since you issued this permit, did you want to ask Mr. Hunter any questions?
If I may, I'm reading from Second Class Township Code book, dated May 1st, 1933, and amended November 9th, 1995. And in there, section 2306 deals with width of public roads. The width of the right-of-way of a public road in townships shall not be less than 33 feet or more than 120 feet, with the width of the right-of-way of alleys opened by the township as public roads not less than 15 feet. The minimum required width shall be in addition to any width required for necessary slopes in cuts or fills. Now, based upon that, when I look through that,
Well, ma'am, this is a time, I'm just asking if you have any questions.
did you ever measure from the middle of the road to the edge of the road to determine the full width of the road?
to measure from the full width of the roads are around 18 feet, so the lane's gonna be around 9.
Okay.
I stretched the tape across.
Are you saying the cartway? Are we talking about the cartway?
The actual road, yeah.
The cartway you're saying is 18 feet wide?
From what I measured, that's what it seems like.
Okay, the cartway is the macadam portion of the road, am I correct?
That's what I take it as.
Okay, so if it was 18 foot wide, half of that would be 9 foot, am I correct?
Yep.
Did you ever measure 9 foot from the center of the road to the edge of the road to determine the center of the road?
Yeah.
Okay, and did you ever measure from that point to where the edge of your property would be?
Yeah, on the first few driveways.
And what was the length of that? Based upon 33-foot
Well,
right-of-way was it 16 and a half or greater?
yes, it was greater.
And what, by greater you mean?
I'd have to go back, I didn't write it down, so I'm not exactly sure what it measured,
Okay.
but, I mean, rightfully, yeah, it's 9 feet, 7.5 more feet is gonna be 16.5 feet, which would be what the township's right-of-way would be.
So from the edge of the road,
From
the township's right-of-way would be therefore 9 feet, and then you would add another 7.5.
No,
What
that's
am
from
I
the center
correct?
road, not
From
the
the
edge.
edge of the road to the edge of your
No,
property?
it's 9 feet from the center,
Yes,
and then 7.5 more might be the right-of-way, which, because that would make the 33 feet
Okay.
total.
that's what I'm asking. Is that to the edge of your property?
Huh?
Seven and a half
For
foot.
which driveway?
I'm talking about the third proposed driveway. Is
That-
there 7.5 foot?
Yes, there should be
Is
some.
it greater than 7.5
No.
foot to the, it is not?
Not there.
So then his driveway is, as it is now built,
It's in the township right-of-way,
is in the
but the
township right away?
property is still in my name.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Williams.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kendall.
I was going to call Mr. Spees as a witness, since he's already asked some questions. It might be an appropriate time to question him.
Okay. Can you sit, Mr. Go back there.
Raise your right hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about you will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Spees, I'm going to show you what we have had marked as Exhibit 2. Under Exhibit 2, I'm asking you to take a look at the 4th page of that exhibit. Is that your signature at the bottom of the page?
Here?
Yes.
I have that as the 5th page, Mike.
I'm sorry, 5th page, correct. Is that your signature at
Yes.
the bottom of the page? This is dated November 10th of 2014, and the application itself is dated November 9th of 2014. Is there any reason why it only took 1 day for you to do this traffic study?
The traffic study was done by driving it, running speeds, the local running speeds. We didn't do it, put out counters or anything like that to measure speed.
You didn't?
We did not.
Okay. So your study, engineering and traffic study, is just based on a sighting of the property?
And driving the road.
Okay. And all of the information on here is just based on your view of the lay of the land, so to speak, correct?
Correct.
Did someone ask you to do this study?
It was asked to be done, I forget when I went out there. First, the application is coming in about the driveway.
Correct. And it's dated November 9th, 2014, correct? If you look on the first page at the bottom.
That was after we reviewed it the first time,
Okay.
okay? We came to a township meeting, after we met there, it did not have the correct site distance for a 45-mile-an-hour road, which I think that's what this was posted, 40 or 45, I forget which.
Okay.
But, so I came to the township meeting, and the township authorized a study to be done, as long as Stepp would pay for it, and be willing to pay for any signs that needed to be placed. And basically that was it, and that's why you see Stepp signed this notice underneath here.
Okay. Were any signs or changes in the speed limit or the roadway? Did any changes occur because of your engineering and traffic study?
It's authorized to be changed, I don't know whether they're up yet or not.
Okay, but what was the change that was made?
To reduce it to, what is it, 35 mile an hour? That's to reduce it to 30 miles per hour,
Okay, and that's down from 45.
yes.
If that driveway access had been up on the top of the loop that is marked as O on the big map, could they have changed the speed limit to place a driveway there?
Yes.
That's all I have.
So we have a record established. Mr. Spees, you are the township engineer, correct?
Correct.
And you were the township engineer when you reviewed these driveway permit applications by Mr. Stepp.
Correct.
And just so I understand it, the driveway permit that was issued for Mr. Stepp would be based on a speed limit of 30 miles per hour
Yes.
on Circle Road.
At these S terms, yes.
And at present, the speed limit is 45 miles per hour.
Correct.
Are there signs there posting it as 45 miles per hour?
Yes.
And so the township would have to adopt an ordinance changing the speed limit to 30 miles per hour
Correct.
in order for this driveway to meet the site distance requirements, is that
Correct.
correct? Okay.
Oh, I'd like to follow up on your
Well,
question. Just so we're clear, that reduction in speed limit to 30 miles per hour, do you know if that's been done yet, or has it been approved?
It has been approved. I did the study. I don't know whether it has been approved by the supervisor yet. I think it has to be advertised and put into the ordinance.
But the driveway has been constructed, so apparently there was an approval. And correct me if I'm wrong, that reduction in speed limit was the basis for allowing, at least one of them, for allowing the permit, isn't it true?
Correct.
And you couldn't construct a driveway unless you had complied with the reduction in speed limit, isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay, that's all I have.
One other question, Mr. Spees. I think you heard Mr. Hunter indicated, he indicated that that Circle Road and is a 33-foot wide right-of-way from Circle Road for that township road, correct?
Correct.
And the driveway for the Stepp property is on the, am I correct that the driveway for the Stepp property is on the township right-of-way? For Circle Road,
Driveway 3 is all within the right of way.
all within the township,
Township
right?
right of way.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Mr. Stepp, do you have any questions of?
No questions.
No questions of Mr. Spees?
No questions.
Does the board have any questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Spees.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to call Mr. Hart as a witness.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, so help me God.
Good morning, sir. Could you please state your name for the record?
My name is Robert Hart. I'm the zoning officer for Watts and Howe Township.
Where do you reside, sir?
In the township at 225 Notch Road.
Did you approve the step driveway permit that is indicated as location number 3?
Yes, at the direction of the township engineer.
And to your knowledge, does Watts Township have a permit issuing agreement with the State Department of Transportation?
No, I do not know that.
Okay. Would you agree with me that the township is required to follow regulations regarding the point of access to public roadways?
Say that.
Wait a minute, I want to make sure he understands. That's
Yeah.
somewhat of a legal
Yeah, okay.
matter. Important argument.
Can you tell us what kind of driveway Mr. Stepp applied for? You know,
Stone driveway.
stone?
Yes.
Was it asphalt at all, or was there any asphalt?
There was no request for asphalt.
To your knowledge, was that a particular kind of driveway under state definitions of the term? Limited use, minimum use?
It was for a residential home.
On the second page of the exhibit, and I'll show it to you in a minute, the second page of Exhibit 2, there is a plan attached.
Yes.
Is that the plan that was submitted in support of this permit application?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, right on the permit application itself, it has certain requirements for driveway permit issuance, doesn't it?
That is correct.
Would you, do you believe, or is it your opinion, that that plan, which is page 2 of Exhibit 2, complies with the requirements for issuance of a driveway permit?
What requirements are you talking about?
The requirements of page 3, at the top of the page, requirements for driveway permit issuance. I'll give you an example. Does that plan at page 2 include a cutaway from a side view? As required on page 3.
Page 3
Of Exhibit 2.
It's not marked 3, I think that's where the problem is. It's not marked page 3.
Okay, but it's the third page.
I would defer to the township engineer on that.
Okay. But you would agree with me that there are requirements
There are
for
requirements.
driveway permit issuance. In your opinion, does this application comply with those requirements?
I think he answered that. He's going to defer to the township engineer.
Okay.
Is that what you said, Mr.?
Yes.
I guess I should ask you then, what exactly is your role in the issuance of these permits?
If you would read the township driveway ordinance as presently constructed, the township engineer has control over what meets what, and all I do is accept the application, give it to the township engineer, and then at his recommendation, do the issuance or non-issuance,
So you issue the zoning permit,
at the direction of the township engineer.
and is it your testimony that you don't know anything about the requirements needed for issuance of a zoning permit for a driveway?
I am not an engineer, sir.
Fair enough. Does the plan contain a layout of the driveway? And I'm talking about page 2 of Exhibit 2.
It contains, you're talking about this?
Yes.
It contains a sketch of the proposed driveway.
Does it contain a profile of the driveway?
By profile, you mean?
I mean, whatever you believe profile means, as zoning officer.
Profile to me means a side vision of the road.
Correct. Does this plan contain that?
If you are talking about page 4,
I'm talking about page 2, sir.
page 2,
The second page of the exhibit.
there is
We're looking at that
no
now.
profile on that page.
No profile. Does it contain, does that page 2 contain the cross section?
No.
Does it contain any information about drainage from that driveway?
If I may. That is-
Answer my question, it's a yes or no question. sir.
It is in that attached, total attachment. It is not on page 2, it's on page 3.
Does anywhere in that application contain any information about drainage from that driveway onto the public road?
I have not seen, no.
And as far as the second page, does it contain any other information other than handwritten information about that driveway? Length, width, construction material, drainage, any information?
No.
Wouldn't you agree with me that it's important to know what kind of drainage is coming off of that driveway onto the public road?
If I may, sir, it is the township engineer's responsibility to inspect the driveway and validate that it's built to meet specifications of the township.
Okay, maybe we'll just recall Mr. Spees to cover that area. To your knowledge, is there any reason why the driveway could not be put in an area that is marked, for instance, on the map as placement O, that is entirely within the Stepp property?
And O is here?
Yes.
Is it not?
Is there any reason why the driveway could not have been put there?
Personal opinion, for me, it would be cost prohibitive.
Okay, so is that the only reason that driveway, in your opinion, should not or could not be put?
It is in the middle of an S term, and I personally, as a township resident, I would not want it there for the safety of the township residents.
But that would be up to Mr. Spees though, wouldn't it?
That would be up to Mr. Speaks, correct?
Have you ever been out to that location?
I've been out several times.
Okay, did you see the access road that was the original driveway into the property?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that access road could have been used as a driveway, correct?
We're talking about number
Uh,
one,
Number Z, oh, original. At the top of the,
this one.
yes,
Could it have been used?
yes.
Quite frankly, I would not think that would be personally the ideal place for it.
And that's based on the cost, correct?
Based upon cost, and if I was building that myself, I would not want it there. It would be dangerous to pull in and out of it.
Even if there was a lowered speed limit?
Yes.
No other questions?
Mr. Stepp, do you have any questions of Mr. Hart?
I do. The proposed O driveway,
You might have to, do you want him to come up here? Can you just walk right up?
Sure. The proposed O driveway, would it, for maintenance in the wintertime, would it be more cost effective with a shorter driveway or a longer driveway?
Cost effective, the shortest driveway is the best driveway.
Would it be,
Now,
would it be
if
safer with a short driveway in the winter?
location O,
Location L? Would it be,
I
Tougher to
believe
get
that
in
is
and
the
out?
high drift area.
no questions?
Board have any questions of Mr. Hart? Okay, Mr. Kendall.
That's all I have for Mr. Hart. I'd like to recall Mr. Speaks.
Okay.
Mr. Speaks, you just heard Mr. Hart testify that a lot of the considerations about issuance of this permit were within your jurisdiction or authority.
Yes,
Would you agree with that?
yes.
Okay. This application itself, is it your opinion that this application complies with, for instance, on page 3 of the application, requirements for driveway permit issuance?
Okay.
Does it comply with all those requirements?
It does not have all the sketches that would be normally required. It does take the typical driveway profile that is in here that says 4%, 4%, to me would be enough for the lay of this property as far as the profile. And also by the 4% grades, that would also be okay for stormwater. So it would not put stormwater out onto public road. It would stay within the shoulder.
Did Mr. Stepp have any help in preparing this application?
Not that I
To your
know of.
knowledge?
Not that I know of.
Do you know whose handwriting is on the?
Some of it's mine,
Okay.
but this is mine on the front.
So did you help Mr. Stepp prepare this application?
I guess if you had to say that that is my writing and I helped him and I put the 4% grade, I think that's my handwriting on the typical driveway profile.
How about on the 4th page of Exhibit 2? Is that your handwriting?
Here?
It says to be completed by the applicant at the top.
Yes,
Your handwriting appears on that?
yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Oh, wait, but just, Mr. Spees, what is on page 4, that relates to the requirement of site distance, am I correct?
Correct.
And the basic, what's there, so I understand it, is what you had said before, the speed limit would have to be reduced in order to have proper site distance
Correct.
at the location where the driveway permit is issued.
Yes.
which is 3, the third driveway. And page 3, the drawings on there, that relates to mainly stormwater runoff.
Stormwater and the grade of the driveway coming off the carpet.
And there on that page 3, it says typical driveway plan view not to scale.
Say that again.
On that page 3, it says, on the right side, typical driveway plan view, not to scale. That's just a drawing of a driveway into a lot, is that correct?
Yes.
But is that for this particular lot, or is that just a
That was generic.
generic? Okay. I guess my question is this typical of what you get for a driveway permit in Watts Township?
Yes.
And so I completely understand this. Mr. Stepp really cannot use this driveway until that speed limit is reduced to meet site distance requirements. Am I correct?
Correct.
Mr. Stepp, do you have any questions, more questions of Mr. Spees?
Ask them how anybody could come by there at 45 mile an hour.
That's irrelevant. One question, the township did take the money that I gave them for the signs, and I need to access my property somehow. So there is no way I can use that driveway?
The signs need to be put up.
So even though
The
they took,
supervisors are the ones.
even though they took the money for the signs and the permit, I still can't use it?
Let me ask, Mr. Stepp, when you say the money for the signs, are you referring to the speed limit signs?
Speed limit and driveway ahead signs. There was a total of 4 signs.
Okay, well, that would be up to an ordinance changing the speed limit is in the purview of the board of
Right.
supervisors.
So that's a timely matter.
Pardon?
Is that a timely matter? Because it was about 2 months ago that we went through all that. I know it's snow on the ground, but
Well, okay, I mean, like I said, that would be up to the board of supervisors to change the speed limit. They have to adopt an ordinance.
it already
go through the
approved.
whole-
They already approved it.
Was it not approved?
It's approved, they approved it.
Has an ordinance been adopted?
Yes, they approved it at the meeting.
Not yet. Okay, apparently an ordinance has not been yet adopted.
They said they did at the meeting. They told us they approved it. The meeting we were here.
Well, if there's an ordinance that's been adopted, that would be in the township records, but I,
Well, read your records. If they approved, they said they approved it.
apparently there's not been any ordinance adopted at this point in time.
I just have a question for Mr. Stepp, if
Yes.
I may. Are you using that driveway right now?
I am.
And about how often, like in a day, would you use that driveway?
Maybe twice a week.
Okay. That's all I have for Mr. Stepp.
You were here, did they approve it?
You don't have any other witnesses, Mr. Kennedy?
No, we're finished.
Mr. Stepp, do you want to offer some testimony at this point in time?
I would.
Okay, how about you come up here and
I'd just like to clarify.
Mr. Stepp, you'll be sworn in. Go ahead.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the
just like to
Go
clarify.
ahead, go ahead. Give us your address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Luke Stepp, 56 Huggins Road, Cannon.
And what's the address of the property that we're talking about for this,
Property of the address
for
is
the driveway?
14 Circle Road.
Is that owned by you individually?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the original driveway, the very first permit that was issued was on the straight stretch, about halfway into my property. Mr. Hunter owns about 3 feet in between my line and the township right-of-way line, so we had to move it. The second driveway permit was issued at O.
Can you turn it a little bit, and just so you can show?
This is where the second driveway permit was issued. And because of costs and maintenance, I had talked to Frank House, which is no longer the supervisor. And he had suggested about going to the third location, which is in between the two S-turns. At that point, I contacted Township again. They came out, did a traffic study, and to my knowledge, approved it. That's why I used it. I didn't know anything about, what's that called? We have to apply for it.
Ordinance, an ordinance.
The ordinance. To my knowledge, it was approved, meaning I could use it.
Okay, so we have the record complete. There were 2 driveway permits issued before the third one.
Correct.
And one of those was dated April 10th, and the other one was dated May 29th. Did that sound
I
right?
don't know exact dates, but that sounds correct.
And those were 2 locations you decided not to use.
Well, the first one we could not use. The second one we decided not to use.
The second one was what's marked as O
Correct.
on the drawing.
Correct.
Okay, I'm gonna make this so the record's complete.
Sure.
These 2 first permits that were issued will mark as Board Exhibit 3, I guess, 4.
And just to clarify,
You have those, Mr. Kendall?
I don't.
just to clarify again, what is marked on Exhibit A.
Okay, the plan.
The plan, as marked on a second driveway, that is a construction access, which it had not been surveyed at the time.
Wait a minute, what's marked, what's a construction access?
Second driveway. What this board has marked as second driveway.
The one that I thought was the second permit,
Right.
it wasn't the second permit.
Right. This
Okay, so
this second driveway,
okay, so that was a construction access,
construction access.
and that's not the one that's part of the
Correct,
permit that was issued.
correct.
Okay, so you're saying that was a construction access. So now you're building the driveway under the third permit.
Correct.
And the photographs, have you seen these photographs, Mr. Stepp?
I go in and out of there all the time.
Yes, what I'm showing you, Mr. Stepp, is photograph 3D and 3E. Is that the present driveway that's being constructed,
Yes,
that you intend to use for access to the residence?
I do. And we had went out and measured according to the survey done by Mr. Hunter. His property line is at 15 feet, roadway to right-of-way is 16 and a half.
But your testimony that your driveway enters, is off your property onto the township right?
Right. And this picture here, 3D, the 15 feet is actually at the south side of the S-turns. It actually gets greater the further north you go. Just to clarify.
Wait a minute, go ahead, you better stay up.
3B or 3D?
3D and is what he was referencing. Is the driveway intended to be stone or macadam?
Stone.
Is there anything else you want to tell the board in regard to this driveway?
Nothing particularly.
Is there a residence constructed on that property?
Yes. We are nearing completion. It's been going on a long time.
What, so the record's complete, when did you start construction
Construction started about the 15th of August.
of 2014?
I had filed permits probably in June. And this is how long it's been drawn out. Even when I went for electric, PPL did not know.
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
Whenever I filed for electric, PPL set a pole on his 3-foot land on the south side of my property. And they didn't even know. You know, I apologize for that, but there again, they wouldn't even do anything until they actually talked to you. And I even told them to move it, and they wouldn't. So that's a more personal.
So, before you started construction of the residence, you actually applied for these driveway permits?
Correct. You know, I don't know enough to do anything, so I just gave them everything I knew, and that's about it.
Does the board have any questions of Mr. Stepp? Mr. Kendall, do you have any questions, Mr. Stepp?
Is your testimony that there was a driveway permit originally approved for the point that is 0 at the top of the curve?
Correct, that is the second permit.
And the reason that you didn't use that is why?
Well, the main reason is because of cost.
Okay.
Second reason is because of maintenance.
The second reason is because.
Maintenance.
That's all I have.
We wanted to use that driveway just to bury the hatchet, but Mr. Powell's had suggested about applying for one and got approved.
Who is that you just referred to, Mr. Pouse?
Mr. Powell, he is a retired supervisor.
Well, okay, just for the record, at that time, he was a township supervisor, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Powell is not a township supervisor at this point.
Okay, that's all I have.
When was that, just for the record? You said,
Oh, I would say a couple of weeks before I applied for the third permit.
we're talking November of 2014, end of October.
Thereabouts.
Okay. No other questions?
That's all we have.
Just so I understand your legal position, Mr. Kendall.
What I'd like to do, if you don't mind, is submit a brief
That's
I can
fine.
do it within a week.
Well, that's fine, you can,
That will contain a closing argument. Because we've covered a lot of territory here this morning, and I'd like to bring it all together in a little more than a few minutes.
let me ask, I just want to make sure I understand. Mr. Stepp, when did you start construction on this third driveway, the one that is actually being used now?
It was about a week after issuance.
So the permit was issued December 4th. You started construction, you say about December 11th?
Thereabouts.
You estimate that?
Estimate, yes.
Mr. Kendall, I just so I understand, your client, Mr. Hunter. Mr. Hunter, when did you first notice this driveway that is being used today for that residence?
Already answered that. Right before I took the pictures on right before the 16th, 14th, 13th. Might have been a little before that, because I had to get some trespass notices. But
You may have already answered this, but at that point in time, did you go to Mr. Stepp and at all?
it was, yeah, that's when he said about the township allowed that driveway. That's where the township told him to put it.
After your conversation with Mr. Stepp, and you may have answered this, but did you come to any township officials?
Yep.
And who were they?
Just be right beside him. Carl Redensky and Pat.
And what did you say to Mr. Stepp when you approached him about this present driveway? If you can just tell the board.
And he talked about the driveway, it's where the location, and told him that I would be liable at that time. I'd already found out that I could be liable if there's an accident there.
Okay. Is there anything more that the board wants to ask? Anything more that Mr. Hart, as zoning officer at the permit issuance?
I would like the quoted state booklet of 118 submitted as an exhibit.
Okay, that's fine. You've referenced that, Mr. Kendall. I think you can take judicial notice of
Right.
that. It's probably in the Code of Federal Regulations. It's a state law, that'll be recognized.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Speaks, anything more you want to say?
No.
Mr. Speaks, as the issuance, I think it's important, as the issuer of this, well, not the issuer, but the N Township engineer, do you feel this driveway permit that was issued on December 4th, 2014, and is reviewed by you, meets the requirements under the driveway permit ordinance of Watts Township?
I think it satisfies that everything can be handled safely at that entrance.
So long as the speed limit is reduced,
Yes,
and that's your opinion as a township engineer.
correct.
Does that precipitate any other questions, Mr. Kemp? Okay, is there anything else? Did anybody?
Liability seems to be the.
Yeah, Mr. Kendall's going to address that in his argument.
Yeah, I can get something out, I don't want to draw this out any longer.
Well, that's fine. Why don't you get something within 15 days?
That's fine.
So just give a written document within 15 days, and we'll go from there.
Very good.
Okay, with that being said, you can adjourn this, well, we will take all of the exhibits, will be admitted into the record, and we'll adjourn the local agency hearing.
Very good.